Minds. I want to hear more about this, though. Why? Players, officials, but no coaches? That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. It should be across the board.
Simple.
Yeah, simple. We'll see. All right.
Turn. It's your turn.
It's my turn. Much more. Lakers and Rockets.
You feel passionate about that, don't you?
I know, yeah. It's simple. Lakers and Rockets meet in game one of the Western Conference semis tonight, 9 Eastern, ESPN. Lakers a heavy favorite to win the series in both Vegas and according to our basketball power index. But ESPN NBA analyst Kirk Goldsberry tells us what might make it tough for L.A.
LeBron versus Harden. Just saying it should get NBA fans excited.
Yeah!
These megastars haven't met in the postseason since 2012, when James won his first title.
LeBron James captures that elusive title.
8 years later, James is still the king, but for the first time in his career, he has led the league in assists. Look at all these dimes. Before the restart, the Lakers made a red-hot 39% of the threes created via James's passes.
Rumbling and stumbling and bumbling.
But that stopped in the bubble. LeBron's teammates have hit just 24% of those since the restart. And overall, the Lakers are the worst three-point shooting team since the restart.
We build different, dog. We build different.
Here's the thing. Threes matter. And the Rockets are the most prolific three-point shooting team in history. So if the Lakers want to keep up, they better start heating up.
Tim Legler's back with us to give us a quick preview of Game 1, Rockets-Lakers. And with the Lakers being heavy favorites here, Tim, we heard LeBron say the other day that he's faced many teams that are prolific from downtown. What do you need to see from Houston in order for them to make this thing a series?
Well, I think Houston's biggest struggle in this series is going to be how do they clean up the glass. I mean, you're talking about a Lakers team that puts so much size and length out there, even with just LeBron and AD and their skill set, but then you bring in like Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee into the mix. It's going to be a major problem for Houston that plays these small lineups. And P.J. Tucker, Robert Covington have a lot of heart and a lot of want to, but at some point, giving up that much height matters. So that's I think, going to be a big factor. I think for Houston, offensively, it's going to come down to James Harden. He's the one guy in this series that you're not going to be able to stop from getting shots if you're the Lakers. So he's going to have to be special. Just a good James Harden won't be good enough. I think for them to have a chance tonight, certainly, and in any game in this series, he's going to have some of those 35-point, double-digit assist type games because he's good enough to control it with his handle. The Lakers are going to play bigger teams, so he's going to be able to get free initially on the perimeter. Getting to the rim might be a little harder for him because of all that shot blocking ability in the paint for the Lakers. That's why he needs to be so good from three. He needs to get to the line. He needs to control this series. He needs a great James Harden to have a chance and to make this a long one.
And the Lakers, they're also well-rested. 6 days after taking care of Portland, it's only been 48 hours since the Rockets barely beat the Thunder in Game 7.
Breaking news in soccer. Lionel Messi changes course and decides to stay at Barcelona. Inside the drama that led to Messi's major decision. Also, new today in the NFL, featuring Washington and Adrian Peterson parting ways. Cam Newton's new confidence as a Patriots captain. And the hunt heating up to sign Jadeveon Clowney. And a historic day in the major leagues. Check out the must-see matinee moments from baseball's most action-packed day in almost 50 years. This is SportsCenter.
Kind of caught me off guard, kind of blindsided me.
Here's Sage Steele and Jay Harris.
Well, Jay, it's happening about 4 months later than originally planned, but tomorrow it is indeed the 146th running of the Kentucky Derby. Here's the thing, a lot of pomp and circumstance. It's going to look and feel much different for many reasons. Marty Smith has a preview from Louisville coming up.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Let's get to the day's big stories. The headlines for this Friday, beginning with the Washington football team releasing running back Adrian Peterson. The 35-year-old rushing for nearly 2,000 yards in 2 seasons with the club. Peterson says he wants to continue playing. Also, in our headlines today, Lionel Messi will remain with FC Barcelona and end his bid to leave the club. Barcelona claiming that if Messi wanted to leave, he or his next club would have to pay his release of 700 million euros or face legal action. The Clippers' Montrezl Harrell has won the NBA Sixth Man of the Year award. It's the 3rd straight year a Clipper has won the award after Lou Williams won it the last 2 years. The news first reported by The Athletic and confirmed by ESPN. And Naomi Osaka advancing to the fourth round of the U.S. Open with a 3-set win over Marta Kostyuk. The two-time major champion threw a racket after losing the second set before regrouping and pulling away for the win. Sage?
Jay, who would have thought the Heat would have a 2-0 lead on the top-seeded Milwaukee Bucks going into tonight's Game 3? Not many people, probably. Second Spectrum gives us a detailed look at how Miami has done this. Through the first 2 games, the Heat have created 16 more assist opportunities than the Bucks. Miami has also outscored Milwaukee 50-23 in points off of turnovers. Also, according to Second Spectrum, the Heat have outscored the Bucks 79-57 when driving to the bucket. Miami's blow-by percentage this series is 5 points higher than Milwaukee's. So many different levels and layers to this series, and it is a fascinating one. Malika Andrews, Tim Legler are here to get us set for this one, Game 3 tonight. Malika, we begin with you. How are the top-seeded Bucks looking to avoid going down 3-0 tonight? Almost unthinkable just a couple days ago.
I know, Sage, but what they want to do here is they want to come out aggressive early and set the tone so that they can avoid playing from behind like they did the first 2 games. And in last game, where it came down to the last shot, they don't even want to be near that situation. But here's the thing, Sage. Last season, last playoffs, I asked Mike Budenholzer, what happens when Giannis gets walled off and their outside shooters are not hitting? And he said, well, our plan is that our patented 5-out system is not going to fail 4 out of 7 times. And it did. It did against Toronto. And they are in the same position this year. Giannis is getting walled off, and their outside help is not able to overcome what Giannis is not able to do right now. And so the Bucks coaching staff creativity is going to be under the microscope a little bit here. The Heat, I've talked to folks over there. They are feeling very confident. And you mentioned getting into an 0-3 hole. It's not just a hyperbole to say that that's not something people come back from. There has never been a team that has done it. So the Bucks really need to win this game tonight if they want to continue in this series.
Yeah, Malika, to your point there, I mean, everybody thought after last season, the kind of meltdown against Toronto and the progress we'd seen this year, Tim Legler, that there's no way the Bucks would be in this position, but they are. It's basically a must-win situation. Tim, what exactly are you looking for from them?
Well, there's a couple things they have to address. And I think, first of all, I would start with the fact that defensively, I know that their strategy is to take away the paint and give up 3-point shots. That's a great strategy most nights. That's not a great strategy against the Miami Heat. They were a minus 30 from the 3-point line in the last game. Heat go up 17, Bucks make 7. That's just not going to get it done. So I think they need to start understanding most of the Heat guards are not going to beat them by making mid-range shots and getting to the rim. They'll give up some of those to Jimmy Butler. Dragic can get there a little bit, but a lot of those role players rely on the 3-point line. So I think the Bucks need to fan out a little bit more and do a better job of defending that shot. It's a huge part of this series. And then the second component is they need a wild card big game out of somebody. I put these 3 guys up, Brook Lopez, Bledsoe, Matthews. One of those 3 guys, I'd put George Hill in that category. They are going to need a 20-plus point game out of one of these guys as a wild card to supplement the offense, to take some of the heat off of Giannis and maybe get a couple of those guys out of his lap so he has more room to operate. Look, if it's a tight game, we know they're going to struggle offensively, but I'd like to see if they can get to a position, maybe not in a tight game, if one of those guys has a big night.
Mike Budenholzer has been named Coach of the Year in the NBA 2 different times. This will certainly be one of his tougher challenges. There have been 11 teams, by the way, to go from owning the best record in the NBA to trailing 0-2 in a best-of-7 series. Not one of them came back to win the series.